Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, going to be talking about Singularity NET and specifically the price action of AGIX. As we get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with that said, done, and out of the way, let's dive down into this brief technical analysis on AGIX. Now, guys, many of you guys will be familiar and aware that Singularity NET issued a new contract, turning the old AGI into AGIX. As a result, we have a limited amount of data actually available for doing charting. And specifically for the technical analysis, we do find it generally a little bit more difficult than we had done with the AGI version. Now, that being said, though, 135 days is all that we have available to us. So we're going to try to do some technical analysis to show you what is going on the daily and the hourly chart. But we have to also bear in mind that it's very volatile in regards that we do not have a huge base of data to be working from, but it's going to give us a rough idea of what we could be expecting to happen next. So on this daily chart, there's something that I do want to kind of talk through, or two main things really. First of all, we set this high area on the chart. Okay, this came in at 66.7 cent. That happened back in the early part of September. Okay, around the 6th and the 7th of September. A double tap on this area of 66.7 before pulling back in the month of September down into this low area just here, which basically brought us down to as low as, if I actually get that on the nail there, 25.4 cent. Okay, so this is an interesting pullback. When we started to see a good rise back up in the kind of latter part of September, small pullback again down to 28.4 cent. Push back up, and again, a little bit of volatility here. And it was a few days ago, on the 12th of October, that we actually pulled right the way back down to the 28.4 cent area. Okay, and then started to move back to the upside. Now, ultimately, there is a downward trend appearing here. Okay, and again, this is an interesting downward trend where we touched on this line a couple of times, or a total of 3 times, really. Once at the top at the beginning of September. Down here again on the second time round, which actually was, I actually just get rid of that for a sec. Right here on the 9th of October, and then basically we've touched the line again today, okay, on the 15th of October. So what we're looking at here is basically getting rejected from this downward trend, but we are looking to breach this, and it's going to breach it in a really big way, I believe. So what we can look at, if we actually bring this down to our support line, okay, our support line is 28.4 cent. As we notice this, we could potentially see a triangular wedge forming here, a big bullish one for a big push to the upside. Okay, and what's really interesting about this is it brings us down into this yellow box area. And again, this yellow box area is here to indicate a bit of a buy zone. And the members, I did a member video on this a couple of days ago, so members are aware that basically this is where I'm looking to accumulate AGIX. And for those who are unfamiliar, I am looking to extend my position in Singularity NET. And this is because I have long-term vision. I am a long-term investor with Singularity NET. I think everything that they are doing is absolutely critical for the space, and I do think this is something that's going to be absolutely massive in the future. So therefore, I have no problem with extending my position. Now, admittedly, I thought I had a lot longer to actually build a much bigger position. Instead, this bull run really popped AGI much sooner than expected. And as a result, obviously, it's a little bit more expensive, so I'm having to dollar cost average a better position over time. So these buy zones are absolutely critical for me. So right now, what I'm looking at here is basically an entry point of 29.1 down to that low of 25.4. Anywhere in this area here for me is a pretty good buy zone. With that being said, though, it doesn't appear that we've actually breached our 28.4 cent zone, okay, our support line. And as a result, that's where this triangular wedge is probably going to get nice and tight before having that explosion to the upside. Okay, and again, this looks like it should come in by the early area of November, so early November at the latest. Okay, as long as everything goes according to plan, we should start to see that push to the upside in a really significant way, breaching our downward trend that has been forming here. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about, obviously outside of just accumulating more AGIX ahead of where they're going across the multi-cycles, but and of course, airdrops and things like that are also on the horizon, NewNet, Rejuve, etc. But the other thing I want to talk about is what we're currently looking at in terms of price expectations with AGIX. Now, AGI, the original chart, was indicating an $8 range, right, on the full 4.236 based on all-time high and bear market lows. But obviously the new contract came into play before I was actually able to analyze whether or not we had current performance indicating such a level. So we're now actually in a place where we're having to look at the current performance of AGIX rather than what was going on with AGI, to give us a bit of an idea as to what is going on. Now, I do think that we're going to see this absolutely fly to the upside. I would like to think that an $8 range for Singularity NET is possible, based on everything that they're doing, the launching on the Cardano ecosystem, and the implications of everything that's going on with Cardano, along with artificial intelligence and Singularity NET, could be absolutely massive and a huge catalyst for price discovery and FOMO later in the year. So on that premise, I do think that an $8 is a pretty good stretch target that we should be mentally aware of and analyze the charts on the journey towards it. With that being said, though, we do have the high area of early September and the low areas towards the end of September, i.e. the 5th of September and the low of the 21st of September. Putting a Fibonacci retracement tool on there, that actually shows us moving up to a $2 range, okay? So we have that on the 4.236 extension here. So based on the performance of September, $2 is our target at the moment, okay? And based on the price of 34.9 cents, that isn't actually too bad. That would actually represent, if I just grab hold of my price range, approximately 469% in gains. And again, I do think this is something that we could potentially push way past, depending on what goes on with the Cardano ecosystem and how successful the launch of Singularity NET on Cardano is. Overall, everything's looking pretty good, and I do anticipate a pretty good surge to the upside overall. Now, when we come down into our hourly, and we actually take a look at that downward trend, and we're obviously the fast approaching it, we are actually in an oversold area right now on the charts here on that stochastic. So knowing that we actually are coming across this area of support, we can see this right here. Let me just get a horizontal ray. So when we actually throw on our, where are you? Saw you a second ago. Wow. Yeah, about here's an interesting zone. Let me just turn that into orange. So basically what we have here is a good support level just being found. We're wicking below it, but basically this is an interesting kind of support and resistance line, as you can see from the past history here a few hours ago. Knowing that we've got good support in this area, that we're oversold on our stochastic, there's a huge opportunity to actually breach our downward trend line altogether and target 42.5 cents. That 42.5 cents would be our next resistance blocker, and again that would come in about a 21% move for AGIX. So on the short term volatility on the short time frame, and we can see a good push to the upside. And if that is the case, then we're not likely to come into this buy zone that I have scoped out for myself, and which would be very frustrating for me personally, because I do want to extend my position with AGI. So good support is being found down here at 30.7 cents. We can see that there. We found good support right here on 34.4. Oversold on the stochastic, looking for grow that stochastic to the upside, and a downward trend that's very, very close to the price point at the moment could see us move up towards 42.5 cents in a really good way. That being said, we basically would want to come back down, retested the trend line as support, and then move past 42.5 and continue the growth to the upside. That means that this is a position that I might not actually come back into and be able to buy up AGI at this particular range of 29.3 to 25.4. Okay, so that would be very disappointing for me personally, but hopefully, I'd still like to see the growth. I would also like to see an opportunity to dollar cost average. Right now, this seems to be an interesting point for traders to get in at, this low point where we're basically finding support and that we're oversold. We could potentially ride this up for short-term trading and etc. Now, I'm not a trader, but that does look like an opportunity to me. I'm also not a financial advisor, so it's important that you do your own research, and I cannot stress that enough. And in doing your own research, you might want to use things like advice.io, check out what's going on there from the underlying value of the cryptocurrencies, diving into the team, diving into the white paper, getting into the use cases and understanding exactly what is going on. Right now for Singularity NET and AGIX, I am building a long-term position. And of course, I will be looking to to basically continue to find as many opportunities as I can to get fantastic deals on AGIX. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. Hopefully you have found this useful and informative. If you have, hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.